Okay, I just started recording this session, so I think we're good to go. So, hi everyone. Welcome to a second session for the Prevent series for CLA Summit. So great to host everyone again on a conversation on leveraging leadership skills to become a successful community manager. So again, we are leading communities. So one will I use the word one key skill everyone as a community manager as a leader to have is leadership skills to be able to manage people so as not to cause conflict or even if there are conflicts in the community for be able to resolve those conflicts. So without wasting much time, passing over to speaker and host for this session, Brenda. She's a community manager and also a co-organizer for the GDG community and also women technicals in Cameroon. Hi, Brenda.
Hello, Timothy.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'll just share my screen and then we can get right into the slide. Please just confirm if you can see my screen. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see your screen. I think your voice is kind of a bit low. I don't know if you could just increase it, check your mic, but your voice is kind of bit low a bit. But yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Is the voice okay now?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Perfect. Okay. So going over to my slide. Okay. So can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. We can.
Perfect. So hello everyone. Good evening again. I'm called Siku Gayo, software developer and community manager of WTM Boya. And today I'm going to be talking on leveraging leadership skills to become a successful community manager. So I want us to start first with this question. I think you just ponder it on your own, but what's leadership to you? I believe everyone in this call is a community manager in one way or another, or an aspiring community manager. So if you are being asked what leadership is to you, what do you think it would be? And also you can leave comments on the chat section or questions if you have any. So leadership is the process of influencing others to achieve a common goal. That's the very basic definition of what leadership is. It's not having a career certificate in project management or community management. It's not it's not being it's not having a call of work, or it's not something that you give yourself. It's just a process where you can influence others to do something which you all set out to do. So there are many different styles of leadership, and I think I'll just walk you through some of these different styles so you can identify the type of leader that you are. Because I believe if you know the type of leader that you are, then you would better manage your communities and better manage the people around you. So the first is a transformational leader, and this type of leader focuses on inspiring and motivating others to achieve great things. So you are all about inspiring the people around you and motivating them. That's one key one key characteristics you get to see in leaders, and I believe that's one key characteristic we all should have as community managers. We have to be able to motivate and inspire our community members so that we can all achieve the very goal of why we formed the community in the first place. The next, we have transactional leadership, and this type of leadership focuses on setting clear expectations and providing rewards for meeting those expectations. So it's kind of a, a business. In the business sense, it's it's a shared interest between both parties. You are benefiting when the community members also benefit. So, in order for your community members to maybe do something, you might provide incentives or rewards so that they'll be able to act on what you want them to do. And then the next is servant leadership. And this type of leadership, it focuses on putting the needs of others first. Servant leaders are humble and they are always willing to help others. I think if we look within ourselves, we might see that we have one, two, or three of these characteristics of leaders that we have seen, and we can also cultivate some more characteristics so that we become better leaders for our communities. Now, the next thing is how to develop leadership skills. It's not something that we are born with, it's something that's been practiced. If you want to be a leader, you can be a leader. But, like they say, consistency is key. So, it's something that you have to practice very often. And since we already found in the space where we have authority and community members to manage, I think it's very important for us to check out all the various leadership skills that we have, and then the ones that we want to have, we get the very key ways on how to develop them. So the first is setting clear goals and expectations. And the question you should be asking yourself here is what you want to achieve as a leader. What are the expectations for your team? Once you know what you want to achieve, you can start to develop a plan to get there. The second is being a good communicator. You have to be able to pass the right information to your community members and your team members so that they will be able to achieve the goal that you have for that community. You also have to be able to communicate effectively with your team members, which means being able to clearly articulate your vision. You give clear instructions so that you are going to have the feedback that you envision. The third is being a good listener. This is also important because you cannot just keep on giving out instructions to your community members and then don't listen to their needs. You have to pay clear attention to what your community members need. I think the previous session, Solani was talking about how to engage online communities, and she gave a few tips. And I believe those tips are going to work if you actually know the type of community you are leading. And you also have to hear from your community what they want. That's getting your community involved in the process of projects and everything. It also keeps them involved in community activities, and it will help them feel like they belong in that community. The fourth is being decisive. You, as a leader, you need to be able to make decisions quickly and confidently because so many people look up to you. If you if you don't um if you don't if you don't believe in the decision that you make, then I don't think the people who follow you or your community members are also going to believe in that decision. So you have to be very sure that whatsoever you decide, you are very sure about it and it portrays in everything that you do in the future. So you have to be very you have to be very clear, you have to be very decisive, and you have to make sure that the decisions you make are not biased. The next one is being motivating and inspiring. I think this relates to a transformational leader, like I explained earlier. So you have to be able to motivate your community members to achieve their goals. In as much as you are achieving your own goal as a community manager and a leader, you also have to make sure that your community members are growing, your community is growing. So you have to make sure that you motivate and inspire community members. They have to have an advantage of being a part of that community. So that's one thing you have to pay very attention to the growth of your community, how you play a very important part in that growth. It depends on the type of leader that you are. And then the next is being supportive and encouraging. As a leader, you have to be supportive of your community members. It means you have to provide them with the resources they need, being there when they need you, or if it's a particular field that you are not very versed with, you should at least refer them to someone that will be able to help. That's also increasing their network in one way or another. So you should be able to be there for them when they need you. And then lastly, you should be willing to learn and grow. And now this I would say it's a continuous process. As you gain experience, you need to be willing to adapt to new leadership styles and new things. As of now, you might be the community manager of maybe a tech community, but tomorrow you might move on to being a project manager, and that's another part of being a leader. So you have to be able to adapt to the new work environment, the changing culture, and everything. So you have to make sure that you are very open to growth as a leader. You are not going to be a community manager forever. You have to you have to pave the way for others in your community. And then I would like us to look at taking risks as a community leader because I believe in order for a community to grow, there are some certain types of risks that a community leader has to take. Like we said, in making decisions, you have to be very decisive about the decisions, and there are some cases that the decisions you might make are not the best, or you are not even sure of the decisions you are making. That's you taking a risk as a community leader. So, if in case you find yourself in that scenario, then I think you can do the following. So, taking risks as a community leader can have positive impact on a community's growth in a number of ways. It can lead to innovation, build trust, and it can inspire community leaders. So be very you have to be very pertinent and very focused about the opportunities that you grab for your community as a community leader. You have to know where you are going to so that you know the type of people that you are going to talk to. And I would like us to have this little discussion. It's I want to hear also from the audience which leadership skills you think you have and which ones you think you need to improve on. I am going to end the slide, pause the slides here, and then go back to the call, and then we have this discussion. So, um, I'm waiting to hear from you guys. The leadership skills you have and the ones you think you need to improve on as a community leader or a community manager.
Okay. I think for me, basically, if I talk about leadership I have, I think one major one for me is being able to get people together, right? So I think detailing more on that is like making sure that when people are together for a particular reason, they are like focus on that reason alone, right? So I think that's one leadership skill I think I have, and I think one I'm looking to improve more on is resolving conflicts. Right? Again, people are from different backgrounds, and it's kind of very, very, will I say, technical to be able to manage people. So I've been trying to improving on that. If issues arise in the community, our best to be able to handle it that both parties will be okay with the whole resolution and move forward. I think that's one for me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Timothy. Any other person would like to share?
Okay, good evening. When it comes to leadership roles, or leadership skills, I believe I'm like very open to like listening to, should I say, the problems that my community members have. So I try to listen to as much to whatever issues that they bring up, because they I understand that they see things in a different perspective from what I see. And the skill I would like to, should I say, develop is, I would like to be more decisive in taking a decision that will impact the group, whether the community rather, whether negatively or positively. So that's my take.
Awesome. That's nice. That's very impressive. I I for one I really have a hard time listening to what community members have to say, especially when you have like a very large community of over 200 members. What I would do is I get organizers, or let's say a team of people, and then I listen directly to that team of people because I make sure that they interact with all the other community members that they can have. And then for the being decisive part, that's also very hard to do on your own as a community manager, because for every decision that you make, you would have to be sure that it's the right thing for your community. But we also know that there are going to be doubts somewhere at the back of your head, and all the pros and cons are just going to come running down. But I think if if you believe it is the right thing for your community, then the pros are definitely going to outweigh the cons. And you can also ask your community members, getting your community members involved in this decision making. It's going to provide good feedback for you and also going to help your community grow. So yeah, thank you for allowing for that. I have one message in the chat from Olamilekan. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly. He says, I think I am quite blessed with experience and innate leadership skills. However, I'll continue to try to improve in every field, most especially risk-taking aspect. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think risk-taking as a community member is very important, and um, we just have to believe that whatsoever decisions we are taking is for the good of the community. And like Timothy said, conflict resolution is also very important. And when dealing with communities that span across countries, then it gets to a whole lot of other level. But I think with a very clear focus on the goal of that community, then the the rules, the guidelines of the community would clearly spell out how the community members are going to engage, and it's going to help you with conflict resolution. Yeah. So, is there any other any other person that wants to share?
Hello. For me, I think I have like good listening skills. But however, I think what I struggle with is having, because I'm more of like a people person. It's hard having defined lines where people don't take you for granted, or as we say to Nigeria, see you finish. So I think that's what I'm currently like struggling with, and I hope to improve on that.
Awesome. Yeah. I think I'll ask Timothy if he has any advice with that, how you can better communicate with people and still gain their respect.
Okay, I didn't get it. Can you just repeat it again?
Nora, are you there?
Yes, I am. Apologies. Oh, I was saying that I actually have like good people skill, and I'm good at listening. But then I think I tend to be overly friendly in some sort of way where I have difficulties maintaining um fine lines to avoid see finish, or people just thinking that oh, she's so friendly, she's going to accept this and that. So that's where I struggle with at the moment.
Okay, okay. I actually get. I think that was. I think that's even it happens in the work as a community manager. You kind of have to be friendly to make sure that people could be able to reach out to you at any time. But again, humans are human, like you said. To finish can come from it because you kind of like feel like, hey, it's not this person I'm seeing. It's not this guy. It's not this guy, right? And they kind of feel like they could just ride on you. But I think what could help basically is make sure that everyone knows where to draw the line, right? So again, I think during the last, I think the hangout we did in Lagos, I think Bami was like asking, have I ever, if I've ever like in pidgin English, if you don't change that for person once, whereby someone crossed the line and kind of like corrected the person right there in front of everyone to serve as a point of correction for everyone to follow, right? So I think what could help is creating that line, even as much as we are friendly, as much as I'm a community leader, I have to be open with everyone, I have to smile with everyone, right? Everyone understand that we are humans and there's a line you should not cross when being part of the community. So I think one thing that helps again is community guideline, right? So most times when people join the community, we tend to like create community guideline, but we don't necessarily enforce it because we have the fear of maybe people might leave or people might find the space kind of toxic. But again, I think if once in a while we kind of like enforce community guidelines, that could restrict and reduce the finish as as we call it. In as much as we have been doing community guideline for the communities we are part of or we lead, so kind of like create that same thing for when it comes to events. I think most people usually come from during events, whereby people just feel like they can behave as they like during events, right? So kind of like trying to create these guidelines when it comes to attending the event and kind of like enforce it once in a while so that people could see that it's not just that it's there for their sake, it's something that we are adhering to and enforcing. So yeah. Um I think as a people person, you'll be key to know when to be firm and when to be flexible. Exactly, yeah. I think that can too. So I think that's my thoughts on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Timothy. Yeah, thank you, Timothy. That was a lot. And I hope Nora and every other sports person would gain from this. So I think that is the end of my session. I really wanted it to be very interactive and to be a discussion kind of thing. I just prepared the slides for an introduction. So if there are any questions or other any other words from the participants and leaders that we have here, I think we'd have them before the end of this session. We are supposed to end at 8:30.
Okay. I think if there's any question, they could definitely drop it on the WhatsApp group because I think we're having another session in a minute time. So basically, I just dropped the link to that session. So I think the last session for tonight, which is building communities in the BS season, is not just a conversation for people building Web3 communities, but also for us building Web2 communities and normal tech products or other form of communities. Because we are currently in a what's the word? In an economic downtown. So most times, most communities right now that don't really have the budget or currently struggling. So again, the conversation today in a minute time is how we could able to build communities in a downtown in a bear market. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining this session. Really appreciate you spending our time with us. Seeing you in a minute time, like not even a minute time, like see you right now on the other session. Bye, and see you in that session. You can just check the chat session. The link to it is there. You also check the WhatsApp group. The link to the session is there. Bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you.